Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Steve Cockerell's Unedited Run Chat. With me is Matt, as usual. How's it going, Matt? How's the training been this week?
Yes, been a good week. Longest since marathon. Hard track session
Yep.
in the wind, as it always seems to be down there. But yeah, good week. Good 5K effort again yesterday with the company, and then a long run this morning, which was quite tough. It was really humid. I was absolutely could wring my vest out when I finished this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. I mean, I've done a run home from Scala's Junior Park run, and it was just literally couldn't make his mind up. I got absolutely soaked with rain in the park run, and then like I said, I had to change of clothes, so I changed, and then it stopped raining. Then went home, and I could wring the shirt out. It was just that humid. It's just mad. But no, I feel like I'm getting back into it, which is good. Being tapped up for a vets league, which shows my age now, unfortunately. But yeah, we all get there. But yeah, happy with that. But yeah, I just thought, just before we go into our topic today, I just wanted to give a few shout outs to a few of the guys who have been watching our episodes. So couldn't have wished for a better start, really, to be honest with you. I think a lot of our videos have got some very, very decent views, over 100 views so far. Our On Hill chat, which was supposed to be a trial episode, is one of our best ones, Matt. How about that?
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's sitting at over 200 views, along with me and Graham doing the Fly 5K promo. And then the ones that have just gone over 100 are the Emma Steptoe interview and the Running Shoes one. So yeah, couldn't have wished for a better start, really. So I just wanted to give a big thank you to everyone who has been viewing the channel. But yeah, hopefully we can try and get some viewers in with this episode as well, because we're covering a very me and Matt just love this guy. I think he's certainly right up there with one of our best runners of all time. He's an inspiration. I think he's good. He is like a god figure in some aspects, where he used to live, where he still lives actually, in Teddington, Hounslow. He's treated like a god there. So I'll probably just given it away, but actually we are going to be covering Sir Mo Farah. Matt, what do you think of Mo? I think you're hopefully in the same boat as me.
Yeah. As I say, there's a odd tinge of controversy in there, but you look at a 20-year running career, and you look at those honours and everything else, and the national records he's got across such a variety of distances. I was having a conversation with someone about Andy Murray the other day, about who is Britain's best sports person. We look at Andy Murray, he's won 3 Grand Slams, and you got Roger Federer at 20. He wouldn't be in my top 3, but I think Sir Mo Farah would be pretty much up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just look at his honours. I mean, like I said, we could do a list now of what he's won. I mean, you look at the amount of Olympic Games, World Championships, World Half Marathon Champs, European Championships. You could go on and on. I mean, he's doubled up at so many championships. He's won so many golds and silvers. There's the odd bronze in there, believe it or not. But yeah, I think this guy, you're right. He's right up there, and I think probably another athlete, if you like, who would be up there with me is Paula Radcliffe. I mean, that's a personal opinion of mine. But yeah, I don't think anyone can go through running a massive career like he has without a tinge of controversy. I think, I think at the end of the day, I think we need to make sure that we get out there and prove that, to be honest with you, there's not really any kind of proof that he's done any wrongdoing. I think he's certainly been associated with some real dodgy characters. Let's just face it. I mean,
in the wrong camp too long, maybe having spats with other athletes, in particular Andy Vernon, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have been above that, but there we go. We all say things in the heat of the moment. Social media is probably a lot to blame for that sort of stuff anyway. He's got upset with people handing out water in the London Marathon, little things like that. But if you look at it as a whole, well, start from when he was a refugee in Somalia. He had it pretty rough till 4. Then from the age of 8, he comes to the UK. He's left his twin brother behind in Somalia because he weren't well enough to travel. He didn't see him again until he was 20. And twins are like, yeah, it's so hard to keep them apart, and he's had to be away from him for 12 years there, and probably he's still in Somalia, so he probably doesn't see him too much. But yeah, it's tough start.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, this is a guy who could have easily slipped under the cracks. You know what? There's a reputation that refugees have. I'm not just talking about Somalians. There's quite a few, sometimes unwarranted criticism of it. Again, he could have quite easily slipped through the cracks. But I mean, I think if it wasn't for a certain PE teacher that he had, which I believe was his best man at a wedding as well, he could have easily just gone through because he was spotted quite early on in terms of running. But yeah, he certainly rose through quite quickly, and the amount of competitions he done through school is unreal, really. I think that's it. Let's just flick through this slide. The reason I want to. So there you go. There's a couple of his early ones. I'll be honest, I can't remember fully the events. I've got a feeling that the one on the right is an English schools. I can't remember, if I'm honest. But yeah. You got a feeling on the athlete on the left? Do you know who that is?
Oh,
go on, have a guess.
Oh, can't really tell on that one.
That is Chris Thompson.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah. From what I remember, these two are, well, they're certainly in the same age group anyway. I don't know if they're exactly the same age, but
38. Well, Mo's 38. I think Chris Thompson's similar age, isn't he?
Yeah. So I know that they had a rivalry coming up through the schools and stuff like that. I think Mo certainly had the edge early doors. However, Chris would always be right up there with him, and it just kind of showed the potential that Chris had as well, not just Mo. But I think early doors he always wanted to represent his club as well, which has always been Windsor, Slough, Eton, and Hounslow, which is good. He always kept their ties there, which as well. But yeah, I think I'm just looking at my notes. How many schools did he win? I mean, he won 5 English schools titles, whether that would be cross country, track, whatever it may be. But 5 English schools. I mean, I've been to 2 and finished way down the field. So I mean, that's a hell of an achievement. That's a great start to his career, I think. And then it just kind of brings you into his early career, really, where he's actually, he went into the European Athletics Junior Champs in 5,000. He went to St Mary's College in Twickenham, just near where he lives. So he got really good training early doors, and I think to be honest, when he was spotted, I think it just went up and up, and I think he was already going to have a career by then, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, you think like that was 2001. He was European champion, junior champion.
Yeah,
turned pro that time. 20 years to keep knocking out the level he has is amazing.
Absolutely. You certainly can't knock that. And I think there is a lot of stuff that he done. So I mean, university, I think it's fair to say, I mean, I can't remember the exact wording in his book, but his career really kind of stagnated towards the end of that. And I think he realized it. And I think in 2005, I think that's when you could perhaps seriously start to look at his senior career. He then decided that he was going to, he wanted to move in with a couple of Kenyans and an Australian by the name of Craig Mottram. Or Buster Mottram, whoever you want to, however you want to call him. He's known as numerous, either Craig or Buster. But Craig being a massive influence on his life. I mean, he ran some massive times over 1,500, 5K as well. And the Kenyans that were staying there as well were top ones. I'll be honest, I can't remember their names if I'm honest. But I think the wake-up call for him at that time, again, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mo was getting ready to go out for a night out, and the Kenyans and Craig Mottram were going to sleep. And you just kind of think, wow. And then I think that was the wake-up call for him. I think he realised, I think it was a week or so later when he had a race, and he was absolutely shot to pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I think he just kind of got his head down from there. And then I think if you start looking going forward in 2006, he recorded a time of 13 minutes 9 for 5K, which is the second fastest runner by David Moorcroft at the time. So that was early doors as well.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. So yeah, that was a big start, wasn't it? That was a sort of a breakthrough run by the sounds of it, really, at senior level.
Yeah, it sounds it. And then, obviously, he was getting coached at the time by Alan Story and Mark Rowland, who you actually brought up last week in the very good track runner. Yeah, and I think, I think, and it's become clear actually how more I've researched it, how much of an influence Paul Radcliffe's had on him. Obviously, he's currently being coached by Gary Lough, and there was races where Paula would always be there as well, and there was always the encouraging words. Obviously Paula was in a kind of own bubble at the time, but there would always be words of encouragement there, which is good.
Yeah, which he never forgot, and it pushed him.
No, absolutely. No, I can. Yeah, I've certainly. I certainly do remember them being at races together, but it just wasn't apparent that they were actually always quite close, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But also, what you got to look at, it wasn't until really you're looking at the 2009-2010 season that his real big breakthroughs come when it, basically he got his first double in 2010.
Yeah.
Which again, speaking to let's just move it to there. Look, so you got his gold, his double golds in Barcelona in 2010, and one thing you'll notice, and unfortunately I couldn't get a picture of both of them, is that actually you look at the Mo's holding one end and there's a white guy holding the other flag, which is Chris Thompson. And I think what I remember about that race is the fact that Mo knew he was going to win that race from the start. It was there was certainly a transformation. Do you remember that them? Do you remember them doubles that he done at the Europeans?
That was just sort of like, then he, like you say, then he started appearing, and then of course when we started turning towards London, that's when he came like a national treasure, if you like. When he performed at the London Olympics, I think that's when even people who weren't that interested in athletics would start watching him. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I think with that run in particular at 2010, he basically, you could see him with like 10 laps to go chatting with Chris Thompson. He was just like so in control, and this is where his racecraft come along. And I think the tactics they had, he kicked away with 5 laps to go, and he took one of the Spaniards with him. I can't remember his name, if I'm honest. But actually, then it's when the field started to kick on, and that's where Chris and an Italian runner called Daniele Maiucci. He's a fantastic runner himself. But he basically pulled them away. So Farah pulled Landasson with him. That's the Spanish runner. I remember his name now. Basically pulled him away and knackered him out, so Chris could catch him in the last stages. And they got that one too, which was an unbelievable run from Chris at the time. But obviously Mo just, he could have won that at Canter even if he was selfish, to be honest with you. So that was the start of that. And then he went to win the 5,000 there as well. So that was technically his first double. But I think, like you say, it was all a build up to 2012. Yeah. Where that happened there, and I'm going to flick in between a couple of pictures here, if I'm honest. So everyone remembers that face when he crossed that line. I don't think he truly believed what he'd done. If I'm honest, it seemed like the years of hard work. Yeah, that was where, and like you said, the racecraft was was born in 2010, and he carried it on for that. He just ran his own race, knew exactly what he was going to do from start to finish, and they couldn't catch him.
It's as simple as that. Yeah, you're right. They just couldn't catch him, and I think with that, I mean, he was labelled a favourite, but I don't think anyone knew at the time how much of a favourite and how much he would go on to dominate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to flick back to this picture here, and I just think like this is where it really come together for him. And they still absolutely love the guy in Hounslow. That's where that gold post box is. There's a series of them around the country, but actually that one there is for when it says the 5,000 on there, but he obviously won the double. But yeah, and then that's is where all the pictures started as well. So they got pictures within double gold medals, and then that picture then that's I think that picture appeared on numerous different kind of memes as well, where actually he was there. There's lions chasing him. There's loads of there's loads of different things. But yeah, they use that picture quite a lot. But yeah, it's that was the real start for him. And I mean, the whole 2012 event was massive, wasn't it? Especially on Mo Farah's career.
It was, well, that was really part of the big thing of the team, but it was a massive team performance with a lot more gold medals than anyone ever anticipated. But for him to win 2 in his first Olympics was amazing, really.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. And I think with that, I mean, what could you do to top that off? And I think in the years leading to Rio, he done quite a bit. I mean, there's, he obviously, he got the honour. I mean, he got CBE straight after, which is good. He then went into 2013, which was the year that he actually broke the national record. So yeah, so you've mentioned about all the records that he's got. I mean, he's got a 1,500 metre national record.
328, 3,000 metres, 732.
Yeah.
5,000 metres, 12:53. 10,000 metres, 26:46. Half marathon, European record, 59:7. And then we got of course, the marathon as well, 2:05:11. It's just amazing to go from that range and be the best.
Yeah, and I think with that, I mean, you always look at Mo's racecraft, and I think what you always see is that he will always be able to control tactics. I mean, generally championship races in a 10K is not quick, is it? Generally. But what you'll find is that he will do a hell of a lot of races shorter, but he will go guts out. He will do 1,500 meters. I mean, that one there, I mean, that 1,500 in Monaco, I remember the race well. I mean, it was just, I couldn't believe it. He was eyeballs out. I mean, he's literally running like that face for the whole event. And I mean, for him to do a 1,500 like that is just madness. I mean, I don't think many people can do that now, if I'm honest.
I mean, we looked at it. We spoke about our team last week. Yeah. And the 1,500 was stacked.
Yeah.
Over the years. We mentioned the 3 of them last week, Kramko and Ovett, and he's topped them.
Yeah, and you just can't.
You don't do all the time. It's amazing.
Yeah, you just can't argue with that sort of performance, really. I mean, he's like, he finished just behind your favourite Andy Murray for the sports personality year. In 2013, but he
with the tennis, when you look at it, that was like the first Wimbledon winner since 1936.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tennis lovers in the country, so it would be there. But I think if you put the careers together, there's no comparison for me.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, like I said, I'm not a tennis fan anymore, if I'm honest with you. But I mean, there's been some great tennis players, but I mean, Murray doesn't get up there even in tennis for me. He really doesn't. But yeah, I mean, 2013, you got like, he'd done the world champs as well. And then 2014, he dabbles in the marathon, which was mixed. Let's say. I think I said, let me. I apologise for flicking through a few pictures, but the picture on the left was his first dabble into the marathon.
Yeah.
Safe to say it hurt.
Yeah. He'd done a lot of build up. He'd done London. He'd done half marathon, dropped out at halfway.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
You step up to that extra distance, and you know what it's about, especially the speed he was running at. I think off memory was it about 2.7 his first one, or round about 2.8, something like that.
Yeah, 2.8. Yeah,
2014, yeah, like you said, the year I ran it. And I remember crossing the line, and there was all the names at the finish, and everyone was saying, "Oh, Mo's ran 2.08," and I thought, yeah, and I'm still half an hour behind him.
That's madness, isn't it? I mean, the fact that how I mean, because I remember the race well. He tried to run it like a track race.
Yeah.
He didn't go off with the leaders, which he admitted was the one mistake that cost him. He didn't go off the lead. He had no one to work off, and he just couldn't bring anything back. And he did break the English record on the day though. He did break that, but I think in terms of like the British record, like you say, he was way off at the time, unfortunately. But that was his first dabble into it, and then he decided to stay on the track for a bit.
I think look at dabbling into marathons and all that. There was some big money floating about, and athletics is not like a footballer, and he's top of his game. I can't blame him at all. Go chasing the big money, because it's a short career.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think with that, I mean, you're looking at, he got a double gold in Zurich. So he began 2014 preparing for the London Marathon, but then he actually, 2014, he competed in the Great North Run. He'd done the European Champs as well. That's where the Andy Vernon spat come from, I think. But I mean, look, it wasn't a disaster in 2014. He managed to salvage quite a bit from that, which is good, which showed he didn't get injured, but he admitted he really underestimated what the marathon was about. And then 2015, he done world and European records. So he broke the 2 mile indoor records. He broke the European record for half marathon in Lisbon. He ran 59 minutes, 32 seconds. And then, you look at the world champs, he done 10,000 again. And I mean, flipping heck. I mean, this is in between the second Olympics, which I've now put the picture up. But he was just winning things for fun, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then it moves on to 2016, where actually, I believe he performed a hell of a lot better than 12. I think, I mean, I don't know what your opinion on that is, but I mean, the 2016 double A done was, that he was targeted in them races. There was a lot
more doubt about him winning those. And again, he controlled the races. It was definitely more down to the wire, but again, he was just a class apart.
Absolutely. I think, the 10,000, he was pretty much, there's no doubt he was untouchable. And I think the picture there is from the 5K, and you'll see in the background, which was Paul Chelimo. But basically, there was a lot of argy-bargy going on, where actually the Kenyans and the Ethiopians for once teamed up, and they really done a number on him early doors. That included Chelimo, by the way. Andy Butcher had to get in there and help him, didn't he? I don't know if you remember that race. He had to get in there.
Both the races, I remember being. Don't think I've been so nervous about watching a track race and winning that, because it was one of them on a knife edge. Really, it could have gone either way. He had to turn up and put in a 10 out of 10 performance, and we've been let down by so many people over the years who've been expected to win gold medals and that at Olympics. But to get 2 gold medals in one Olympics is amazing. To do it back to back like that, 4 years apart.
And I think with that as well, and I think you just can't beat the racecraft that he has. And you know, he stuck to his guns. He kept the inside line. He never kind of lost the front, if that makes sense. Even though the Kenyans and the Ethiopians really tried to do a number on him. But yeah, like I said, Andy Butcher trying to get up there as well. I mean, the great relationship that them two have is unreal. I mean, like I said, they always go on training camps together now. I mean, I remember after this, it was in the next year actually. There was, you know, I think it was like the Great Britain vest was literally handed over from Mo to Andy at the time. So, but yeah, I think I loved this one in terms of like how he ran and how he managed to survive the physical element, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then put in a 400 at the end like he did, and it's just like they can do all the tactics they like in the world, but if Mo Farah's at that front with 400 to go, then that bell rings.
Yeah,
it's game over.
It is absolutely. Yeah, you can't. I mean, you want a impression of Mo's speed. I mean, do you remember that European team championships that he competed in? He'd done a 5K, which it was a jog basically. Yeah. It was an absolute jog for him, and then he'd done a final lap. Was it 52 or 53, something like that?
Yeah, I remember that, and it was just like, that's just incredible.
Yeah, and I was just like flipping out. I mean, the only person who I could think of in his prime that could have actually done something like that, and there is a couple that come to head, but actually I think only the one person who could have actually stuck with him at the time in his prime was Bekele.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I've thought about Gabriel Selassie as well, but actually, if I'm honest with you, I think speed-wise, Mo has the edge. But then again, you're talking about different generations. You've got 3 different generations there, haven't you? Although, to be fair, I mean, you say 3 different generations. I mean, Bekele isn't too far. Well, I mean, Mo and Bekele are pretty much the same age from what I know of. But
yeah, Bekele late 30s as well, and still remarkable at the marathon, even to the day. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I think there's that, but then they're different generations because he done his track career so early, and then Bekele moved on. I mean, I think injury forced him because the speed kind of on the track went. But yeah, like you say, a phenomenal runner. But I wanted to see Mo and Bekele really race. I mean, the only time we saw 3 race in the same time was the Great North Run. Do you remember that one where they all ran together? And I'll tell you what, that was, I mean, Bekele won it on the day, but that was one of Mo's. He had to really fight. And it showed a different side to him, that he could actually fight. He could actually go to the line when actually he's under pressure. Yeah, he didn't win, but I'll tell you what a time he got. So there's that. And then he went into his final track year. Well, we thought was his final track year, 2017.
With the Worlds, yeah.
So yeah, I think with that, I mean, you got to look. So he announced he would switch from track events to the marathon after the 2017 championships. He won the 10K and he finished second in the 5K. I mean, yeah, because Edris beat him in the 5K. Which I didn't remember that one, if I'm honest.
No, I would have said he got gold in both, but I was looking back at 2015, I think, if I was right.
Yeah, no, you are right. Yeah, but no, I must admit, I got the 2 confused, and I thought actually, yeah, because he lost that to Jalen in one of them as well, which I can't remember which one it was. Was it 2011 or something like that? He lost to Jalen in one of the events, didn't he?
Yeah, possibly the 10K. I was 10,000, I'd say.
Yeah, possibly.
5K gold, but when you look through it, it's just a consistency from the 2011 Worlds all the way through to 2017. Golds galore. It's just to maintain that standard. Usually something goes wrong, whether it's injury or off form or something, but his standard was top notch all the way through.
No, absolutely. And I think you look at that. I mean, you look in his final year, he won in the Diamond League in Birmingham. He won his final 5K in the Diamond League, finishing 13:06. He beat Edris and Chalimo in the sprint. And then 20th of August 2017, he again reiterated that he was going to do it. And he'd done his last 10K a GB vest in Birmingham. So I think he wanted to finish on his strongest event, which why not? You know, I mean, at the end of the day, everyone talks about the Mo show, but actually I think sometimes he's earned that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's, as I say, there's probably been an odd suspect half marathon where he's been handed the win, but that's what the crowd want to see. They don't want to see Mo come second; they want to see him win. So if the price is right for everyone, why not?
Absolutely, no, I couldn't agree more, mate. I think, and you talk about suspect halves. I think that Great North Run that year, I think that was a suspect one as well. I think the strongest person there was Jake Robertson of New Zealand. I mean, he was one of the twins from New Zealand, but Jake's a good runner, but he never in a million years going to challenge Mo, is he? I mean, let's face it. But yeah, it was that year as well. He actually split from Alberto Salazar as well, which that really put the taint on everything, really. I mean, he called time to his track career, but then through all of this, he initially backed Salazar, and then everything came to light. I mean, it wasn't just the Galen Rupp stuff that come out. There was loads of stuff where loads of female athletes, came out with like abuse in terms of, starvation, poor training plans and stuff like that. And it was just like, what come out? I mean, I genuinely, this is my own opinion. I didn't read this anywhere, but it was just like my genuine opinion is that I don't think Mo knew the full extent of what happened.
There's a bit, I think the word would be, a bit of blind loyalty going on there, where he's probably not wanting to believe the truth because the man's obviously given him so much over the years, got him everything he could have dreamed of and more. So, but sometimes these things come out. I think in comparison, you could probably say would be Lance Armstrong.
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
wanted to believe what he had done because of what he'd suffered in his life and what he'd achieved. But in the end, everyone has to face reality, don't they?
No, absolutely. And I think with that, and, he went to Gary Lough, who was Paula Radcliffe's husband at the time. So, yeah, it's just a case of, Paula's influence again as well. I think that obviously come into play. But, he then focused on the marathon full time. And so I will go back to this picture here. So Mo's first marathon back was London. Which was the that picture there. So he was against Eliud Kipchoge and a few of the other guys there as well. And I thought this was a really, really good run from him. He came third in the race. He went with all the moves this time. What was it? His words were, it was literally do or die.
I remember that race well. And yeah, I think that was a really good performance.
Yeah, I mean the pace they set off at, what was it? It was sub 2 hour at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm just surprised he never really pushed himself at Berlin on a quick course. He actually, his best performance was at Chicago, which is probably not the easiest of races. Windy City, 2:05:11, is it?
I think you are right. So I think
European record, which on that course is pretty special, really.
I think so, and I think, but then if you look at the field that was kind of put out, I mean, you talked about some of the suspect fields. There were some really strong marathon runners in there. Please don't get me wrong on that front, but I think on that, Mo wanted to win a marathon, but I mean, he done the work. I mean, 2:05, you just can't argue with that. But I think there was a few. Chicago is one of the smaller, bigger marathons. That didn't make any sense at all. But it was one of the smaller, big marathons. I mean, because everyone, like you say, focuses on the Berlin one if they want a time. Yeah. London is, well, it's one of the better paying ones. And you got New York in there as well. And Tokyo's really started to come through as well. But I mean, look, he done well. I think for me though, I don't think he gave the marathon enough chance, because I think the following year he ran a 2:10. He really ran badly.
Yeah. I think he came eighth, didn't he? He was
Yeah,
I'm not right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 8th, 2:10. I think he went with the pace again. You know, there was no kind of dodgy tactics or anything like that. He went with the pace early on, and he just couldn't hack it. He said he had one of them days. He had Bashir Abdi in the race as well, which trying to pace him back. But then I mean, Abdi's marathon caliber really started to shine through. It was this race where actually Abdi really ran the last 10K like you did in that Boston Marathon. He flew through the field. He nearly caught the top 3 guys, which was amazing, really. But I don't think he gave the marathon enough of a chance, in my opinion. And because I think if like you say, if he'd have ran Berlin with a few of the top guys, his time would have been around 2:4, 2:3, in my opinion.
Yeah. When you look at Bekele, we mentioned earlier, coming back, I think it was 2019.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
COVID, yeah. And he'd been out of the picture for such a long time. That was his comeback race, and he's 2 seconds off the world record.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think you got to look at the track. I mean, Bekele's training, I mean, I think he changed it at that time. So I think what Bekele did was he got training in a group where he always used to train on his own.
Yeah.
And I think he realised quite quickly that, and one thing I didn't actually realise was that Bekele and Kipchoge run under the same running team. I don't think they have the same camps, but they actually run under the same team as well, which is, so you've got the shared training knowledge and stuff like that. But part of me wishes that Mo got in with that group, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just to see what he could really do. Like you say, you're getting that sort of standard over that distance. You'd be, like you say, you'd be hoping for 2:3, 2:4.
Yeah, and I think because I mean he's always spoke about his relationship with Kipchoge, and they always got on well. So I just kind of thought, well, yeah, I mean, why not? Why not get in that group? But no, it never happened. And I think after Chicago, he realised what the marathon was about, and he wants to return to the track. And I think initially he did okay coming back, didn't he? Because he set a couple of records, didn't he? He done the 20K record on the track, which was at the same time as the hour record. So he came to the track, but that was about it for me. Do you think he should have come back? Or I mean, for your opinion,
no, I mean, because in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, but
yeah,
I think as the results have shown, that discipline had passed him by now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, this is the one in Manchester where they laid on a race for him, and I mean, this was during the race. It wasn't even at the end. It was during the race. This was, and it's a sorry picture. And I mean, this is one of my last pictures, unfortunately. So, I mean, the reason I've put this one at the end is because he's actually said he's carrying on, which is good. I'm not sure in what, if I'm honest. He hasn't really announced too much, but I'm hoping he goes back to the roads, because I think...
I think so. We'd love to see him. I mean, like you say, you mentioned Gabriel Selassie earlier, and I remember, I think that same 2014 race he was involved in, and he was over 40 then. So
yeah,
no reason at all while he can't have another dabble at it, earn some more money, and then finish from there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think, I mean, like I say, I mean, whether he returns to the marathon, I mean, he won't return to the marathon, I don't think. I think half marathon is going to be his thing. Perhaps the British 10Ks, like the one that goes around London and stuff like that. But I mean, this is just for yourself and everyone else. But yeah, what is next for Sir Mo Farah? And I think, the roads are calling him. I really don't think, I mean, it depends how his training goes, because I mean, if he still trains on the track and he does the reps and he goes to camps, in Font Remo, or whether it be in Ethiopia that he trains, then that the speed's still there. If he's still doing that sort of thing, it's there. So I mean, we'll see what happens. But what do you think's next for him?
I think you're probably right. The roads. He might probably do another year next year. Bit of a tour of Britain.
Yeah.
I remember Paula finishing it, came back and did London and just ran in with the crowd. Whether we do that more as a frontline level, I don't know, but that'll be Yeah, I think probably he would finish off next year.
Yeah, no, and I think that would be a good one. He'd want to finish on a high, and I think no, Mo Farah, he will. I think he certainly will. I'm going to end it with one question to you, and I'll answer it the same. What is your favourite Mo Farah moment?
Favourite Mo Farah moment? I would say the London Olympics. I think just for being on home ground. First time he's won gold medals at Olympics, and it's here, and coming from such a tough upbringing and showing whatever's thrown at you, you can be the best in the world on your own stage in your adopted home city.
Absolutely. And I think my favourite is when he went in the jungle. No, it's not. No, I mean,
because I don't watch stuff like that, as you probably already know. But yeah, I've totally forgotten all about that. What that for me?
I mean, look, he went in the jungle. He's done. He won the cube as well. Was it the cube? Yeah, he won that. But
if supporting Arsenal weren't embarrassing enough, as they can do that.
Yeah. I didn't want to bring up Arsenal, but yeah, he supports Arsenal and stuff like that. Yeah. But I think my favourite Mo Farah moment. I mean, yeah, it's a struggle to beat the 2012 moments, but for me, my favourite race was that 5K. It really was. It was just one of them. It was the 5K in Rio, I should say. Yeah. The way he just battled. I mean, it was. I'm just trying to think of the number of people, because it was like I could count 7. So you got the 3 Kenyans, 3 Ethiopians. There was Chilimo in there. There was might have been a couple of like Ugandans there as well. They were all bullying him. And then when you say bullying, there was the elbows, there was the barging. It took a Scotsman to come in and smash him around. But look, I mean, the way he battled there, and he just left them for dead. And it was that 400, like you said, that done it for him all. And that was the race that really kind of said, right, he is properly the real deal, because he had so many questions asked of him, and that was it. He done it.
I remember watching it, and it was like, it weren't a race to sit down and watch. It was, you was on your feet the whole race, because you're just literally up screaming at the telly.
Yeah.
You couldn't sit down and watch it. That was for sure. It was that exciting.
No, absolutely. I think, I mean, what a career he's had, and like I say, I mean, the honours that he's had as well. You mentioned his times earlier. It was just like incredible range. I mean, what was his 800 time? I mean, I've got his 800 time here actually. 140. I mean,
148.
It was. I think he could have gone quicker.
Yeah. Probably even now.
He probably could. I mean, you think about Elliot Giles doing 144. I think Mo in his prime would have been, I'm not sure if he'd have been right up there, but I think, 145, 46 maybe.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Definitely. Who knows?
Well, you mentioned, you touched on his 400 time earlier, and it's 52 seconds. So yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If he'd have trained, he could have done that.
No, absolutely. But so that is Sir Mo Farah, and I think whatever happens next for him, he's going to make a success for it. He'll probably go into punditry. You can see him next to Paula. You can see him next to Crammy. I think he'd be really good at it as well. But yeah,
he'd probably bring a bit of, like Micah Richards has brought the football.
Yes, the football.
Maybe not the most knowledgeable person in the world, but he'll bring plenty of laughs to the table.
He certainly will, and I think pairing him with someone like Paula or someone like that, it could be like the Roy Keane, Micah. I think that's a great comparison. I love that. So what you got planned for next week? What's the training like?
Next week, just same as normal. I think just carry on till Parkrun comes back, and then maybe look at some races. I've just sort of like been holding off a bit.
Yeah.
Till all the restrictions are lifted, and then, which we're hoping for on the 19th. So we've got another 2 weeks of it, hopefully, and then we can just get back to a more normal and start. Yeah.
I've actually got a session planned, not just a run. I've actually got a session planned. I've got 6 1K reps planned at about 5K pace.
Okay. Well, hearing about them then.
No, you'll see pictures of me on the floor, mate. Trust me.
Yeah.
Oh man, but no, enjoy the training, and I say thanks for doing this with me, Matt. I really appreciate it, because I think we both
really good. And
we
like
both
I said, yeah, we've mentioned the best British sports person. I think you can say athletics wise, who can touch him in the male field? That's for sure.
Well, the next 10 years we'll be probably talking about someone else to compare him to. So we'll see.
Hopefully.
But absolutely. But
Yeah.
no, cheers to this, mate. And what we'll do, we'll certainly catch up next week, and yeah, we'll decide who we review next. We might do a Bikali review in a couple of weeks. How about that?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. All right. Cheers, buddy. We'll speak to you next week. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Steve. Take care.
Right. Yeah.
Bye.
Take care, mate. Bye.